Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cast Files After Dark.
Well, the time changed, so it's not quite dark yet.
It's sexy hours here on the Cast Files. Yeah.
Is that my cue to talk about nipples?
If you want it to be.
Great, okay.
Well, first let's get this part over with. Sorry about the podcast. We are still sick, and we were at the time of recording. There's some sniffing that I couldn't edit out. Our voices are a little bit rough. There's an edit or two that's kind of harsh due to coughing and blowing of noses and stuff. So,
Great setup.
well, I wanted to let them know ahead of time. That way they could, be prepared, like Boy Scouts.
I see.
After dark.
So is that my cue to talk about nipples?
Sexy nipples. After dark.
All right, so later in the episode we talk about Coco, and there's a discussion that we have where you mention that there was a lawsuit against Coco because Coco wanted to see nipples.
Coco is a serial sexual harasser.
And actually, you're going to be shocked.
Oh, what? Am I?
Yes.
Okay.
The lawsuit wasn't because of Coco. The lawsuit was because the organization that took care of Coco, the Gorilla Foundation, their executive director pressured 3 women to show their nipples to Coco.
Well, yeah, I didn't think Coco was actually doing the pressuring.
Coco was reported to have a preoccupation with both male and female human nipples, which I think is a funny sentence.
Nipples?
As if male and female nipples are wildly different.
They're different enough.
Boobs are different.
So are nipples. Mine are hairy.
With several people saying that Coco requested to see their nipples. In 2005, 3 female staff members at the Gorilla Foundation, where Coco resided, filed lawsuits against the organization, alleging that they were pressured to reveal their nipples to Coco by the organization's executive director, among other violations of labor law. The lawsuit was settled out of court, but gorilla expert Kristen said that other gorillas were not known to have similar nipple fixations.
Oh, so it was Coco's fault.
No, it's the executive director's fault.
Yeah, but that's just an age-old story, not a fun one.
All right, well, change it.
Oh, I did. I made Coco the bad guy.
Stop making the female the bad guy when it's the male again.
Fine.
But I did have to read about nipples, so now you guys get to know too.
Now you guys are also nipple experts.
Yep. Apparently Coco had more kittens than just the one that I saw. She had another kitten named Lips and a kitten named Smokey.
I don't think she named Smokey.
It looks like someone else. Let's see. The Gorilla Foundation also briefly played home to a male green-winged macaw of mysterious origin.
Oh, he was put there by aliens.
Yeah. Though he was not a pet of Coco's in the same way her cats were, he still resided there. Initially frightened of the parrot, Coco named him Devil Tooth.
That's
Devil presumably coming from him being mostly red, and Tooth for his fierce-looking white beak. The human staff adjusted the name to Devil Beak, and ultimately to DB.
like DB Cooper.
Yep.
It's all connected.
In 2015, Coco was presented a whole litter of kittens, and she picked 2, naming them Miss Black and Miss Gray.
That's original.
Just wanted to give you all the cat facts. Cat facts with Kristen.
Nice.
And macaw facts. And nipple facts.
Excellent. I guess with that, we should get into the episode.
Okay.
Greetings, listeners, domestic, international, and extraterrestrial.
I'm Dave Reed.
And I'm Kristen Riley.
And this is the Cast Files.
Wait, no, you're a nerd who has somehow never seen The X-Files.
And you watched it when it originally aired.
The X-Files is a podcast where we watch and discuss every episode of The X-Files spoiler-free.
You did it!
I know, that's pretty neat.
Today we are watching Fearful Symmetry.
Today we're watching and discussing Season 2, Episode 18, Fearful Symmetry.
Same thing.
It originally aired February 24th, 1995. It was written by Steve DeJarnett, and directed by James Whitmore Jr.
That is correct.
Thanks.
The synopsis is: strange things happen in a zoo that result in several deaths, including a government employee and apparently an invisible elephant.
Yeah, my synopsis is, huh?
Yeah. You're not alone in that.
Okay.
So the reception, we're skipping over the cast and characters for just a moment. The reception of this episode received mostly mixed reviews from critics. Entertainment Weekly gave the episode a C, writing, quote, aside from a well-executed invisible elephant rampage, this one's pretty much on automatic pilot.
Yeah.
Unquote.
Automatic pilot's a good way to put that.
Zach Handlin of the AV Club also graded it a C, calling it, quote, forgettable and underbaked. Not terrible enough to be a complete failure, but forgettable enough.
He said it's no gender bender.
John Keegan from Critical Myth gave the episode a moderately negative review and awarded it a 4 out of 10. He wrote, quote, overall, this episode felt more like a statement by the writer regarding animal rights than an episode of The X-Files. The plot doesn't seem to know which direction it wants to explore, and ultimately, elements of this episode contradict each other. And I have to say, John Keegan's review of this episode could probably apply to this episode that we're currently doing right now, because I have a lot of stuff to go into.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good review of it. I think he nailed it, because I was thinking similarly. They're just trying to make some sort of statement about extinction, about animal extinction.
It's interesting because we had the eco-terrorists before, and I'm still unclear where the X-Files stands on eco-terrorism.
Yeah. Anyway,
So,
yeah.
We also have, a lot of people reviewed this, and everybody said it was mediocre.
Okay.
Robert Sherman and Lars Pearson, in their book Wanting to Believe, a critical guide to the X-Files, Millennium, and the Lone Gunman, rated the episode 2 out of 5 stars. They wrote that despite the episode having, quote, rare anger, unquote, and a, quote, genuine passion behind, unquote, its conservation message, the entry was not, quote, a very good story, unquote.
I think they're giving it a little too much credit by saying it has a genuine message, a genuine passion, because it didn't come across as very genuine to me.
Yeah. The plot for Fearful Symmetry was also adapted as a novel for young adults in 1996 by Les Martin under the title Tiger Tiger.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one to pick to do that.
I didn't read it. Sorry, guys.
Oh, well, darn.
I've been reading a lot of other stuff, but not Tiger Tiger. So, you felt pretty mediocre about this as well?
Yeah, it was just... I've got some specifics, so...
Me too. Mine are gonna... As usual, I go off on random... Not random. They're not random tangents. They're specific tangents tied to this episode, but then I go, like, deep dive into them. Specifically about Bubbles.
Bubble, okay.
Did you know the Tiger King is going to come up in this episode?
Why would I know that?
You wouldn't, because I just revealed it.
Correct.
So, ready to get into it?
Uh-huh.
I only did the cast and characters list of the people who have previously been on The X-Files.
No. All right, I have to look something up real quick then.
Go for it. So, we have Charles Andre, played Ray Floyd, previously played Thug in the X-Files episode Shadows.
Thug.
And
he's the guy who got murked by the ghost.
Is he?
Yeah. And then the lady assassin, the lady thug, was like, nope, I'm getting out of here.
That's right. Lino Britos is a janitor, and he later plays a character in several episodes, but I'm not going to tell you who.
Yes, please don't.
I didn't. That was the first time they did that to me. It's always previously on.
Is that all you got?
Those are the only recurring.
Okay. Well, I immediately noticed Lance Guest.
As Kyle Lang.
As Kyle Lang, because one of my favorite movies as a kid was The Last Starfighter.
Jaws, The Revenge.
He is also in Jaws, The Revenge, but one of my favorite movies when I was a kid was The Last Starfighter, and he was the main guy in that.
Have you made me watch that?
Nope. He was also in Halloween 2.
Oh, I have seen that.
And then not much else.
Well, this is a lot of stuff, just not stuff that we recognize.
Yeah.
All right. In Fairfield, Idaho, 2 janitors witness an invisible force storm down a city street.
But not before one of them takes a cigarette out of his mouth and then puts it on the floor, like, filter part down. So gross!
It's really gross.
Do cigarette smokers do that? I'm going to save this lit for later. I'm going to put the part that I put in my mouth directly on the ground.
On the ground that I'm literally cleaning right now.
Because it's dirty.
Right.
Ugh. Gross. Super gross.
And one of the other janitors, he's dancing while he's mopping, and the cigarette janitor is like, "Stop it! God's watching!" And I'm like, chores are always more fun when you can dance.
Yeah. That's why I had my Funk Hits of the 70s CD that I used to put on when I would clean.
Oh. When I was cleaning this morning, I put on my queercore playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Jammed out, cleaned up. Pretty nice.
Yeah.
A road worker is later killed by the force on a highway.
Now, yeah. But one of the reviews mentioned it, but I had a note here. So it's really good effects.
It is, yes.
For this invisible elephant running down the road, bumping into cars and just knocking road signals down and everything.
Those barricades, Bob's barricades.
Bob's barricades. Shout out to Bob.
Yep. Nice seeing that you're featured here. Lots of product placement for Bob's barricades at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really well done. The guy who got murked, however, was the only one who didn't move out of the way, out of the obvious path of whatever this invisible thing was.
I couldn't tell an obvious path.
It was going straight through Bob's barricades. They were in a line.
It was an invisible thing. You can't be like, oh, obviously this is where the invisible thing is.
They were actually in a line that made no logical sense for actually using Bob's barricades, so they were using Bob's barricades incorrectly.
Oh, those bastards.
And then
You're saying this guy deserved it? You are
might be
totally victim blaming this guy who got stepped on by an elephant that was invisible.
Well, he did.
Yeah. I felt bad for him, but I guess that was misplaced.
No, you're allowed to have your feelings.
Okay.
The next day, an elephant suddenly materializes in front of an oncoming big rig.
Which was super fun.
Yes, and it gets real sad, but don't worry, I got some fun stuff coming up.
Okay, yeah, because it went from real fun to real sad real fast.
Yes, the driver manages to stop in time, and it's super cute because the elephant's running at the rig, but the rig's slowing down, and you're like, the X-Files isn't going to run this big rig into this elephant. So, not terribly concerned. And then it curls up its trunk and touches it with the front of the big rig, and then it walks up to the side of the window, and its giant elephant eye looks at that guy.
Yeah.
And then it just trots off.
It's fun.
But then it dies, and that's...
sad.
It was awful. We lingered on the dying elephant.
Way too long.
For so
long. And crying children.
Yes.
Why did we need a 10-minute scene of children crying in front of a dying elephant?
Filler.
Such a long scene.
It was a lot. It was terrible, so I had to find out about this. So part of this is from production. Co-producer J.P. Finn revealed that the trickiest part of the episode was securing the use of an elephant, as this necessitated the show securing a permit for the animal to pass into Vancouver. Part of the problem with that is that several laws had been passed recently in British Columbia prohibiting the use or appearance of large animals like elephants to protect them from being exploited by unscrupulous circuses. So they have this episode about animal cruelty and eco-terrorism and the preservation of animal rights while also having to deal with
animal rights
getting around
laws.
Animal cruelty laws.
That's fun.
Yikes. So that wasn't the fun part, but the fun part about the semi-picture shot was they were worried about how the elephant would work around large vehicles because they were afraid that the elephant would be afraid and that it would not run towards the truck. Which was a necessary shot for the opening. However, the producers ended up having difficulty getting the creature away from the truck because it enjoyed being near it.
That's funny.
And this specific elephant is named Bubbles. The shots were filmed on a quiet country road in South Surrey to get around some of the use and appearance of large animal laws. And then they're broadcast, so I don't quite understand that giant loophole, but whatever. So they found a place where the laws were not in effect to shoot Bubbles in the semi. Ben was, one of the producers? Later revealed that the elephant used for the episode, named Bubbles, was, quote, fantastic to work with.
It seemed it.
I love that there's an extra quote. Bubbles, fantastic to work with. Would work with again. So back to the show. Mulder contacts Frohike.
Frohickey.
I know, but that's not what they said in the first episode.
That's what he said in every subsequent episode.
I stopped listening.
Oh.
To Mulder.
Okay.
And Byers, who say that Fairfield is known for its animal disappearances and UFO sightings. They also mention Ambrose's gorilla, who is known to communicate using American Sign Language. Mulder and Scully survey the damage in the city, which appears to have been caused by an elephant, even though nobody saw an elephant.
Yeah, apparently this is before they knew there was an elephant laying in the road.
I guess so. I guess, yes, because this would be the night that it happened, probably.
Oh, we went back in time.
Probably.
Doesn't seem likely, though.
No, because it's daytime when they find the elephant. Maybe they haven't put it together because it's further away.
I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't know that there's been an elephant.
Because they shouldn't be able to get from D.C. to Idaho.
Right.
Same night that it happened.
Right, I agree. Ed Meacham, an animal handler at the zoo, recounts how he came to the elephant's locked cage to find it empty. His boss, Willa Ambrose, tells the agents that the zoo is in danger of closing due to other animal disappearances. Sounds like that place should be shut down.
Yeah. It's a good idea to shut this place down.
Wow. She blames the zoo's decline on the animal rights group, which is known to free captive animals. What are they called?
Wow.
Wild Again.
Something
Wild
like
Again
that.
Organization, something like that.
I just wrote down WAO. The wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
The group's leader, Kyle Lang, denies any involvement in the elephant's release. Lang tells them that Ambrose is being sued by the Malawi government over a lowland gorilla she took from their country 10 years prior, who we will find out is named Sophie, who we will find out is exactly Coco.
Yes.
So Mulder contacts Frohickey and Byers, who say that Fairfield is known for its animal disappearances and UFO sightings. Although he would have accepted tornado if it was tornado season.
Oh, well, interesting.
And what did he say, UFO, if it was UFO season?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
It seems like every place in this country is known for its UFO abductions.
Are there white people there?
In Idaho? Yeah, there's a lot.
There you go.
It's true. Okay.
They also mention Ambrose's gorilla, who is known to communicate using American Sign Language. Meanwhile, Scully follows one of Lang's activists as he sneaks into the zoo, running into Meacham inside.
Because they had went and talked to him, too.
Did they?
Yeah, after they talked to Willa,
Yeah.
they went and talked to him. And that's when I saw,
right.
Oh, that's the guy from Last Starfighter.
Okay.
Him and his little M&M buddy.
His little M&M buddy?
Yeah, he had a little M&M buddy with his bleached blonde M&M hair.
Oh.
And that's who sneaks into the zoo right here.
M&M? His little M&M buddy?
Little M&M guy. The peanut M&M. Because he's yellow. Sneaks into the zoo, and they show that women can climb fences too.
Yeah, equality.
I was like, yeah, good job.
Happy Women's History Month, y'all.
Hey, I just laughed and didn't have a coughing fit after.
Good job. Yeah, we're still sick, as you probably can tell. The activist attempts to free a tiger, but after a flash of light...
No, he's not trying to free a tiger. He's got a camera. He's there to get evidence that Meacham is doing bad stuff.
Meacham is doing bad stuff.
He is.
We see evidence, and they seem like they don't know what evidence is.
Yeah, we have this video of him doing bad stuff, but we're going to go get proof that he's doing bad stuff. The guy's not there to free an animal. He has a video camera.
Okay. Well, our TV was acting up too, so...
Yes, but it's very important to note that now because later.
Okay.
Something that happens later.
Now because later.
Now because later.
Well, the tiger seemingly disappears.
So whatever's doing this is teleporting them just a few feet away from where they were.
2 miles.
What? But it didn't, though. It just
That's
teleported
true.
it out of the cage and then made it invisible.
That's true.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Because Mulder says 2 miles southwest or something later.
Because they pop up elsewhere. But at first, apparently here, they just go, bloop, bloop. You're over here now. You're just outside of your cage and invisible, so you can kill Eminem. Producer's notes. Since there's 2 of us, we're both here.
We are both here.
So I figured it out while I was editing. The aliens are not teleporting the tigers and other animals like just a few feet to their right and making them invisible. Like I said in the episode, there's the bright flashing light, which means that time is stopping. So they are stopping time, teleporting the animals, getting the fetuses, and then putting the animals back, but being haphazard about it. Not being too careful. Maybe because there's a shift in the time-space continuum.
They put it exactly back, but the Earth shifted.
Oh,
I feel like it would have shifted a lot further, but whatever. Maybe they took it and then brought it back the same time the next day, but that was just enough for it to be slightly off.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Well, that is our producer's note. And, oh my god, so I've searched so hard to find this. You have to listen to this, because you weren't in here when it happened, so you have not heard this attack. This attack is amazing. I'm going to put the actual audio in the episode right here, and then edit this bit out.
Okay.
So, listen to this.
Somebody's just making those sounds.
Somebody is just, the Foley guy or whatever is just in the mic going,
I feel like that should be in Trolls too.
Yes. It's just the most ridiculous sound effect I've ever heard in my life.
She agrees. The activist is mauled to death, with the killing captured on his night vision camera. Was it night vision? Sure, fine. You know what?
Why not?
When questioned, Lang denies any responsibility for the death. Yeah, because he says, if I say that I was there, then I'm going to be arrested for not... What is it when you're next to murder?
Accessory?
Yeah, you're next to murder.
You're next to murder? Yes.
It's not the outfit of the murder, it's the accessory.
But he wasn't there.
No?
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Otherwise, he'd have been mauled by a tiger, too. Invisible tiger.
I agree. So the production note on this is not as fun as Bubbles.
Oh, cool.
A live tiger was used in the episode, and the production crew struggled with keeping it calm and warm.
Oof.
Given that Vancouver's climate is drastically different from the one in which tigers evolved to thrive. So how's that animal cruelty law going? And whatever commentary you're making, what is the point of this episode? Is it animals deserve rights, or we're allowed to break all of the animal cruelty laws in order to have an X-Files episode with animals in it?
We need 24 episodes a season.
Yeah. Ambrose introduces the agents to the gorilla Sophie, who has been cowering in her cage and expresses her apparent fear of light.
I was wondering what was going on here, if Sophie was going to be the perpetrator.
Right.
She's a psychic or something.
Right.
That's trying to help or like her animal friends escape. I'm very glad it wasn't that. I'm not glad of what it was.
Oh yeah, it doesn't get better though.
That might have been a more compelling story.
It might have been. So Scully performs a necropsy on the elephant because you know how human doctors are the same as veterinarians.
I loved the scene where they're just fully walking around inside the corpse of an elephant. That was pretty wonderful.
Did they not know? And veterinarians who work on cats and dogs and regular, everyday pets. They
can also remove bullets for mob people, too. They're mob doctors as well.
Oh, veterinarians.
Yep.
Hi, Dr. Veterinarian / mob doctor.
Yep, that's the way it is. Every veterinarian's also a mob doctor.
Wow. The mob is prolific.
It seems that mob would be able to afford a regular doctor, but I guess not.
I think they like it that way. You have all of your anxiety because you have a super stressful job.
Yeah.
And you go into the doctor. Going to the doctor's super stressful.
It's true.
But then if you go to the doctor at the vet, you can pet an animal while you're getting your bullets pulled out of you.
You get all the dander in your wounds.
Yes. But it's your stress relief pet.
Yes.
And if you are worried about dander, they might have iguanas.
Oh, they might.
Snakes.
Elephants.
Probably not at the one that we go to, but maybe.
Oh, okay.
Baby elephants, possibly.
Possums.
Possums are so mean looking. I love possums. They have such an attitude, which just is perfect because, honestly, leave them alone.
I do.
Good. Do you remember that time we got out of your car and there was a possum eye level with us on the fence?
No. Where was this?
Right outside at your parking spot.
Wow.
On that fence down there by the neighbor's yard.
Wow. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I got out of the car and I was like, I'm making eye contact with somebody. Oh, hello, possum.
That's fun.
It was fun. And then, you know what? I left it alone.
Right, because it's just minding its own business.
It was. And I startled it, and then I got out of there so it could go on its own business. Because I understand.
Good job.
Thanks. So Scully is a doctor of everything, and here we go. The elephant was pregnant, which is impossible since the animal had never been mated. And my note just says, ugh, tired trope. We're gonna do alien abductions and impregnating female creatures. Happy Women's History Month, everybody! We just want equality, man.
Well, when it aired, it was Black History Month, so...
That's true.
It's okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay.
All right, well, you're the women's expert of the two of us.
They're also black women, you know?
What? Okay, but we can't celebrate our history at the same time.
Why?
Because it's Black History Month, Women's History Month. It's a separate thing. When is white men's history?
No. Every day.
That's not a month.
It's in all of our lives and laws. Do you feel gross for asking that question?
I barely got it out.
I know, but you should feel gross. Fine. The tiger reappears at a Boise construction site and is shot dead by Meacham when it charges at Ambrose.
I hated that.
Yep.
First of all, the zoo guy walks up to a group of armed cops with a shotgun. And nobody is like, why are you just walking around with a shotgun? At first I thought it was a trank gun, because that would have made sense.
Yeah.
But no, he just brought a shotgun with him from the zoo.
You know.
Like you do.
I'm sure there's a shotgun, but, shouldn't there be multiple trank guns?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the first thing? If you were actually trying to help.
Also, walking up to a group of cops with a gun is just wild.
They are the scaredest cats of all.
Yeah, they are. This might have been before that warrior training that has made them all just the worst. Not that they were good before, but
no, but they're so freaking skittish now. It's
yeah.
like, calm down.
That warrior training that makes them terrified of everything.
Yeah, it's great. Well, the zoo was shut down the next day over the incident.
Oh, R.I.P. zoo.
Unfortunately, that does not happen in the real life story I'm going to tell you shortly.
Oh, cool.
Mulder tells Ambrose that the tiger was also pregnant, because, of course, and explains his theory that extraterrestrial aliens are impregnating all the female endangered animals as part of their own Noah's Ark. And the little heart eyes come out of his eyes, correlating with their little hearts and then their little crucifixes with sexy Jesus.
What?
That's what comes out of his eyes.
Okay. All right.
Mulder thinks that Sophie, too, is pregnant and that she is worried that her baby will be abducted. Sophie confirms Mulder's suspicions when she makes signs for baby go flying light. So, obviously, Sophie is Coco. So, I looked up some stuff about Coco. I had the book Coco's Kitten when I was a wee one and loved flipping through it and seeing Coco playing with her tiny little kitten. It's adorable.
Sure.
Did you have that book?
No.
I feel like everybody should have had that book. But what I looked up was not that book. I looked up the intelligence portion of the Wikipedia on Coco because I know that there's been some controversy about whether or not she was doing American Sign Language, what kind of sign language, what all of the different things. So I just pulled this brief bit out that seems like it covers a good amount of the science in question. Between 1972 and 1977, Coco was administered several infant IQ tests, including the Cattell Infant Intelligence Scale and Form B of the Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test. She achieved scores in the 70 to 90 range, which is comparable to a human infant that is slow but not intellectually impaired. According to Francine Patterson, however, it is specious to compare her IQ directly with that of a human infant because gorillas develop locomotor abilities earlier than humans, and many IQ tests for infants require mostly motor responses. Gorillas and humans also mature at different rates, so using a gorilla's chronological age to compute their IQ results in a score that is not very useful for comparative purposes.
Yeah, that seems obvious.
It is, but I want to, at every step that I possibly can, reinforce that IQ tests are bullshit.
Yes.
And that they should not be used on people or gorillas to identify whether or not they're special enough.
Yeah.
So I want to reinforce that because it's one of the many things that the X-Files likes to bring up.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's all you got for Coco?
Yeah.
All right. I also looked up a little on Coco because I'm always skeptical of anything, and I'm skeptical of Coco. And I seem to remember it being debunked among a certain group of people.
That's why I pulled that piece.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would have read the whole Wikipedia page because I knew you were going to do this. What did you pull?
Okay, well, while searching for that, I didn't find what you found, so good job on that. I found...
Thanks, I went to the scholarly
Wikipedia.
journal, Wikipedia.
Well, I remembered that Coco was a serial sexual harasser. And 2 ladies got fired because they refused to show Coco their boobs.
Oh, yeah, there was a section on Wikipedia that said she was really into nipples.
Yep.
And I decided not to add that.
Here's the title of an AP article I found.
Lawsuit over Coco the gorilla's nipple fetish resolved. Wow, that's not clickbaity if I've ever heard it. Wow.
That came out in 2005.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if clickbait was a thing yet.
Clickbait's always been a thing, baby.
Okay. Anyway, cancel Coco.
Coco's dead.
Good. Cancel.
Jesus!
Coco the serial sexual harasser.
Oh my gosh. Now I wish I had read that thing about nipples.
Coco got Me Too'd and checked out.
Oh, wow. It only actually impacts women.
What is it?
Me too.
Okay.
Men don't ever have to face
Oh,
any
yeah,
sort
I
of
know.
consequences.
They just keep working. That's...
All right, back to the story. Sheriff's deputies order Ambrose to release Sophie into protective custody, but we couldn't figure out what the sheriff's deputies would do with a gorilla besides just keep her at the zoo.
Right, like she was already the safest place.
We're taking her into our custody, except we don't have a facility that can hold her, so she's staying here.
It makes 0 sense.
But we're letting you know that she's ours now.
Right.
Ambrose unsuccessfully seeks help from Lang, her former boyfriend. Ooh. But he advises Ambrose to let Sophie return to the wild because she says something like, do you want her to go there and get poached and have her hands cut off? And I was like, ooh, no. But then he was like, but she's supposed to go to a...
Preserve.
A conservation preserve. And that's what I want. I don't want her and her baby to grow up in captivity. And she's like, but why aren't you on my side anymore?
Yeah, he is literally like the most sympathetic character in this episode.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not sure if he's supposed to be.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
None. No idea. Lang later goes to see Ambrose at the warehouse where Sophie is being prepped for shipping, but finds her cage empty. Oh, one of the things that Ambrose says to Lang when she's trying to get him to help her is that Sophie is in a metal cage with no bars. And I was like, isn't that just a box?
And it was.
Yeah, it's true. He is then mysteriously killed by a falling crate.
But there is the distinct sound of a stun gun beforehand.
So, you know how Coco had that kitten that I mentioned? That kitten's name was All Ball.
What a terrible name for a kitten.
Well, that's what she named it because that's what she signed.
Yeah. further evidence that she had no idea what she was actually signing.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, here's a sad bit that your heart will not break over, but everyone else's will.
Okay.
Allball got out of the cage and ran into traffic and got hit by a car.
Yikes.
And when Coco was told that Allball was dead, she signed bad, sad, bad, brown, cry, frown, sad, trouble.
Wow.
And that's what I signed when Lang died from a crate.
No. Oh, I didn't see you. I missed that.
Scully finds that Lang was struck with a cattle prod and suspects Ambrose of killing him, but she claims that Meacham is responsible. Mulder goes to arrest Meacham, who is keeping an angered Sophie at another warehouse near Boise. Meacham suddenly locks Mulder into Sophie's room, where the endangered gorilla attacks and injures him. And at one point, Mulder goes, "I'm not going to hurt you."
Right.
And we're like, we know.
Yeah, no kidding.
A bright light appears and causes Sophie to vanish, but not before she gives Mulder the final message in sign language.
Man save man.
Yep. Mulder gives the message to Ambrose because Mulder doesn't know American Sign Language, and Ambrose translates it, but yes, that's what it is. Ambrose and the agents are then called to the highway where Sophie has been struck by a car and killed, and I wrote, "This is literally what happened to Coco's kitten."
Yikes.
Ambrose and Meacham are both charged with manslaughter for Lang's death. As the agents leave Idaho, Mulder says through narration that he believes alien conservationists were behind the events in Fairfield.
How do you get charged for manslaughter when she straight up murdered him?
I don't know. How does any of that happen? Well, do you want to know about Bubbles?
Sure.
Or do you want to keep talking about this episode?
We ran through some stuff a little too fast.
Okay.
When they're in the construction site with the tiger, I must have looked down or something because they split up while looking for a tiger. It was Mulder and Scully, and then the Ambrose with the the trank dart gun.
Right.
Somehow they got split up, and that's just a terrible idea. Tiger's going to pick you off one by one. Didn't happen. Got shot with a shotgun instead. But
Bad news bears.
Bad news. Bad, sad, bad.
Yes.
And then when Mulder's explaining his alien abduction theory to Ambrose, he said something is different now, and that's why it's going bad. And he throws out something wrong with the space-time continuum.
Oh, God, yeah.
Out of all of the ridiculous things Mulder has ever said in this show, that's got to be top 5. Top 5 ridiculous things. There's something wrong with the space-time continuum. We need to reverse the polarities.
Yes.
Good God. Yeah, just not a well-written episode.
No, and I'm still not sure what the message is.
No, not at all.
You ready for an actual message?
Yes, give me one second.
All right, so I wondered what happened to Bubbles. I wanted to know more about Bubbles, the elephant. Found Bubbles the elephant at Myrtle Beach Safari.
Oh, wow. We could drive there.
And I thought, we could do a wild encounter tour and meet Bubbles. And then I was like, there's a lot of pictures of baby tigers on this site.
Oh, God.
And if you have been paying attention at all, that is really bad. Yeah. Exploitation to the max.
To the max.
Yes.
We're in 1995, everybody.
And so I was like, what is this place? It's called Myrtle Beach Safari. Is this a zoo? Is this a conservation? What is this? Is Bubbles at a good place or a bad
Bubbles
place?
is a bad place.
Bubbles is at a bad place. Yeah. Bubbles is at Doc Antle's Myrtle Beach Safari.
Yikes.
Do you know who that is?
Doc Antle?
Yeah.
No idea who that is.
I didn't think so, but then you said yikes, and I was like, well, maybe. You do know.
That name is just a red flag.
It is, because that guy was featured on Tiger King. And so if you, unlike us, did watch Tiger King, you should be well aware that tiger conservation in this kind of thing, where it's not actually conservation, what they're doing is they're breeding the tigers to make money off of the baby tigers, and then they're usually mistreating or killing the adult tigers once they outgrow their cuteness. So that's the kind of place that Bubbles is at now.
Wow.
So there are a bunch of tigers at this place.
I'm glad that's legal.
Antle still runs the Myrtle Beach Safari, so I wanted to see if it was closed since 1995 when this came out, or since Tiger King, when I found out that it was all related. It is not. He still runs it. It's still open. It's been open throughout COVID. He has this This organization called Tigers, which stands for the Institute for Greatly Endangered and Rare Species, and Rare Species Fund, which is not a real thing. I mean, it's a real thing, but it's not a legit conservation thing.
Yeah.
One of the things said, oh yeah, it's just bad. This article that I found is Doc Antle's Park from Tiger King is open during the COVID-19 pandemic from Refinery 29, and this was in 2020. We also see that if you just look at the headlines for Myrtle Beach Safari controversy, because that's what I typed in first thing, how Chris Brown's daughter wound up at the center of PETA Myrtle Beach Safari standoff.
Wait,
now,
Chris Brown?
Yes.
He has a daughter old enough to be doing headlines and stuff?
She was sitting on top of on top of an elephant's head.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how old she is, but I don't know how you feel about PETA. I know a lot of people have interesting feelings about PETA, but you should have a very definitive feeling about Chris Brown and Myrtle Beach Safari.
Yes.
We also have Tiger King star Doc Antle charged with wildlife trafficking. He was charged in 2020 with 15 counts of trafficking and animal cruelty. The location is still open. He still owns it.
Fantastic. Good job, everybody.
Yep. So he's been charged with animal cruelty. He has bubbles. The list goes on and on. It's bad. It's just bad. So that's not fun. You didn't know that we were going to talk about Tiger King, though, did you?
No, I did not. And I'm sad that we did.
Well, people need to know.
Yes.
People need to know what happened to Bubbles. We watched her die.
We watched her act dying.
Yes.
Which was a good death scene. We watched Bubbles do some real, Shakespearean level work.
I really wanted to read bits of this National Geographic article that I found on it, but I kept getting this pop-up and I can't get past it. So it's behind a paywall. Or behind a give me your information wall.
Oh, boo.
But the bits that I can relay is, if you're wondering if it's just Doc Antle, no, his daughters and his children are also involved. 2 of his daughters have been indicted on misdemeanor counts of cruelty to animals and violating the Endangered Species Act. So that's great. The facility has been open for 37 years, and they run attractions for cub petting. And one of the things in Tiger King, apparently, one of the people who worked with this Doc Antle guy said that once the animals were no longer profitable, he would euthanize them by shooting them.
Jesus.
And no one's looked into it.
Yeah, they're tigers. Isn't that, wildly illegal?
This is the U.S., and he's doing it for money, so...
Ugh.
So in theory, yes. But in America, eh. Well, you have anything good to go out on?
Oh, who are you shipping?
Oh, God. Mulder and Sophie.
Mulder and Sophie. Interesting. Okay. I think I'm going all these animals and their babies.
I was going to do Sophie and her baby, and then I was like, Mulder seemed real invested.
Oh, you were picking up on something I wasn't. Are you surviving? This one seems an easy one to survive.
Yeah, I think I just don't animal traffic.
Yeah. I get, there's one guy who got killed who really didn't. Oh, there was 2 guys who shouldn't have had to see that stuff coming. An invisible animal killing them.
Yes.
So let's see. How do I survive that?
That's true. Yeah, because the road worker, well, I think that he should have moved.
So did Lance Guest. I actually wrote that down and forgot to say it. Lance Guest just straight up said, well, maybe he should have moved.
I don't think he should have been charged by an invisible elephant.
No, I think that's wrong. I am firmly against it. I'm taking a stand.
Oh, what did Scully say? She's like, I think Lang said that the animals should be free, and she's like, even ones who will murder people and rampage. And it's kind of like,
what? She was weird in this episode too, because she was automatically against Lang. I'm like, oh, the guy with left-leaning tendencies. Scully hates that guy. Weird.
Yeah.
Who could see that coming? Scully's very intelligent, but at times she has little fashy tendencies.
Ew.
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess surviving, I would get some like heat vision goggles,
Oh, that's a good idea.
so you can see the invisible animals.
I'm going to steal that, and then I'm also going to move when all of Bob's barricades that are lined up in front of me start getting knocked out of the way.
All right.
Not straight. I'm not going to run straight though. I'm going to run to the side.
Unfortunately, I think in real world scenario, I stand there and stare. I go, what is going on? And get trampled by an invisible elephant.
Well, R.I.P. you.
R.I.P. me indeed. Okay, guys.
Bye.
The Cast Files is produced by Kristen Riley and Dave Reed. Edited by Dave Reed. You can find us on Twitter at Cast Files. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Reed. That's DaiveReed. You can email us at thecastfiles. That's the with 2 E's at gmail.com. If you could please go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, and tell us that we are doing phenomenal things. Artistic, wonderful things. We are raising the bar on podcasting. We would love you forever for that. We have a TeePublic store. You can go buy t-shirts and stuff there. Music by House 6. Logo by @OokaArt. That's OOKAART.